Yesterday, my life was headed in one direction. Today, it is headed in another. You ever think the universe is against you? Fear, belief, love. Phenomena that determine the course of our lives. These forces begin long before we are born and continue after we perish.
Our lives are not our own. We are bound to others, past and present. And by each crime and every kindness, may birth our future.
I will let you go again. I believe there is another world waiting for us, a better world. And I'll be waiting for you there.
You're listening to the Outlaw Radio Network. OutlawRadioNetwork.com.
All right, it's the Outlaw Radio Network for the 10th of January, 2024. I don't believe I'll ever get used to saying 2024 until 2025.
Give it till February. You'll have it down.
Thanks for checking out the show. Hello, Tom.
Hey, bud.
Good to have you in studio. Paul joins us from the palatial St. Paul Estates and mortuary. Hello, Paul.
Power. I have power. Thank God I have power.
You know, Paul,
We don't have a terrorist attack that wipes out our power grid.
I don't know, Paul. I lost half what you said because your stuff's still cutting out. But I'm glad you got power. You know, it reminds me of a Sam Kinison joke, Paul.
Oh.
Sam Kinison used to talk about the people in Africa wouldn't be starving to death if they lived where the food is. You wouldn't be dealing with power outages if you lived where the people are. Just so we're clear.
Wow.
When I lived in West Bremerton, right down the road from that Safeway, you know how many times I lost power? Like almost never. And when it was out for less than an hour because I was right downtown. If you live where the people are, you'll have power, Paul. And Paul's gone.
I have no.
Okay. No, all right. Paul, yeah, you're still cutting out really bad. You're cutting out really bad. You might want to try just calling with your regular phone. We'll patch you in. Thanks for checking out the show. We appreciate it. I'm going to let Paul decide what to do on his end with his audio because it's choppy.
That's weird.
It's choppier than a Julia Child's restaurant. I don't know Paul either, but you are in the middle of nowhere. I'll let you work on that while I open.
Nothing a little
okay.
Starlink and solar power won't fix.
Yeah, Starlink. I always hesitate to bring up personal stuff on this show. I know you guys are like, Kevin's always talking about personal stuff, but as a general rule, my personal stuff is me poking fun at myself. My poor dating relationship history, my 8,000 children with 9,000 moms. Don't ask how that's possible. And the myriad of other things that I make fun of myself for, so thus everybody else makes fun of me for it too. I'm totally okay with that because normally life is to be laughed at. Nothing is funnier than what happened today. And I don't mean funny, ha-ha. I mean funny as in beat your head against a brick wall and cry as the blood streams down your face funny.
Oh. This isn't starting well.
The big issue. I'm going to go back to scratch. Back in 2015, I found out I had a daughter who was 9. Lo and behold, out of nowhere came a daughter, 9 years old. No knowledge of her beforehand. There was a very long, a long story that goes with this. I won't bore you all with. We've talked about it before. And God bless Michelle Caldier, who heard the story and understood the flaws in the state's child protective care systems. She had me down to speak at a panel and some other stuff. I got a tour. And even though Michelle and I have had our issues since then, the fact that she took my story seriously and used it to hopefully make changes means and meant a lot. So that daughter's lived with me ever since 2015. She came from a really broken situation, a whole bunch of neglect and some other stuff. So since my daughter went to high school, and she should be a senior this year. Ever since she went to high school, she's lost her damn mind. She had run away a couple of times before. There were issues, but it's slowly, continually gotten worse. Over the last 2 years, it's nosedived even worse. To her running away for months at a time, her violating court orders under court-approved programs designed to keep her off drugs and to stay in school. Over the last 7 or 8 months or so, she has run away again. She's been living in a tent. She's hooked up with a 29-year-old convicted sex offender who's still under community supervision, and yet they won't violate him because she's old enough to make her own legal decisions about who she has sexual intercourse with. So even though he's convicted of a sex offense, it doesn't matter that she's a minor. It matters that she's over 16. Over the last 3 months, she's tested positive for fentanyl, methamphetamines, and regular amphetamines because, meth without regular amphetamines is just boring, I suppose. Last month, we talked on this show about the fact that a Kitsap County Sheriff's deputy found her at a homeless encampment and promised her that if she would verify who she was, he would not take her into custody, nor would he tell her parents where she is. So she believed him and she gave him her identity, and he kept his word, even though he was under an obligation to arrest her because there was a warrant out for her arrest and she was an underage runaway, but he didn't. Finally, a police officer found her, arrested her, and put her into custody. Less than a week before Christmas, they sent her off to a mental health treatment facility in Smoky Point, which is north of Everett, where she was supposed to remain for up to 10 days. They kicked her out at 4 on New Year's Eve, when there were no services available to her for several days after that because things are shut down because of the holiday. They kicked her out and they released her to the care of her mother.
Isn't that where the problem started?
The problem started back in 2015. Oh. She went to her mother's house, and I said repeatedly that it was only a matter of time before she ran away because that is what she does. The state has neutered us as parents to have any say over what happens. We're not allowed to detain them, restrain them, or do anything to keep them in their home. They're allowed to leave whenever they want to, but we are somehow held responsible for what they do once they've run away. Miraculously, my daughter did not run away. She stayed at her mom's house until they had court on the first Wednesday of January. She walked into court demanding that she be treated like an adult, demanding that she no longer have to report to court, that the court no longer place any impositions on her and make her do things she didn't want to do. No, she wanted to be released from it all. The judge said she was still going to appear for court on a weekly basis. She was still going to undergo random UA tests, and that she was still going to be expected to do school stuff. She got pissed off and threw a water bottle, nearly clocked the clerk in the head. The judge said, "Oops, that's not how you act in my court," and remanded her to juvie. Her next court hearing was 2 days ago on Monday. She walked into court again belligerent and angry and pissed off, demanding that she be treated like an adult. When her mother tried to speak, she spoke over her. When the WISE program lead, WISE is a program designed to keep troubled kids in school. When she spoke, Evelyn spoke over her. When the CPS worker spoke, Evelyn interrupted. When the judge talked, my daughter interrupted again. At that point, the judge said, "I've had about enough of you. I'm remanding you back to custody. I'll see you Wednesday. I'm done with you," and walked out of court. Today was court. Today, my daughter refused to walk into court. Why? Because I was there for a change. The judge asked a whole bunch of questions. The state presented their case. The defense attorney presented their case. The state essentially said, we need to remove her from the WISE program and all the at-risk youth programs because clearly it's not doing any good. Because that's what we do. When somebody's in trouble and they're breaking the law and they're doing bad things, we just remove the restraints that punish them for doing it. Brilliant. Her defense attorney advocated for her to be released from juvie, preferably to be placed with the state. I then addressed the judge and explained all of the issues, all of the problems, all of the challenges that we've had, her inability to be restrained or to be trained or to be taught or to be led, her angry outburst, her violence, her threats of violence against her minor age brother and sister that live with her mom, her drug abuse, the entire story. They still remove the at-risk youth program off of her. Then we had a wonderful conversation about what we were going to do to place her. I again informed the judge that placing her with me or with her mother was not right, nor was it fair. Why? For those of you who claim I'm a lousy father, Holly. Because in both instances, there are minor age children that live there. Minor age children that should not be placed in the crossfire of a 17-year-old who will not listen, who will not do anything anybody says, who will not react or do anything, but is violent and has made threats. She has thrown things. She threw a cookie sheet at her little sister at her mom's house, narrowly missing her head. Then the state spoke. The Attorney General quoted an RCW that basically says if the child is not going to be in essentially juvie, that it is the parent's obligation to take them, and if her mother and I will not take her, then we should be found in contempt of court and held responsible. That could result in fines and or jail time. Oh, I forgot to mention, I'm also caring for my nearly 80-year-old mother and her myriad of health issues and all the prescription medications that are in the house that I certainly wouldn't want my 17-year-old drug-addicted daughter to be around. But I digress. CPS and DSHS argued that they didn't want her either. There was no reason for them to place her with her because there was no legal standing to do so. I explained that there is legal standing to do so. Under RCW, because there was a dependent order that was placed in effect in 2015 when I found out about her before she was placed with me, the state has the authority, because there was a dependent order, to do something. And I implored with them to do something. I cried in court asking them to do something. I begged them to put her into treatment. I begged them to mandate her to get drug and alcohol treatment, to get mental health counseling, to get anger management. I begged them to invoke laws and programs and procedures that are designed and in place to help children in trouble. The judge looked at me and said, as a court official and as a father, I feel for you. I understand exactly where you're coming from. But the legislature has tied my hands. There is nothing that I can do. The Attorney General dude then still continued to go on and on about how it should be the parent's responsibility, even though there's other kids in the home, even though my mother's in the home, even though she's not going to follow any rules. She's still going to abuse drugs. She's still going to get banged by her 29-year-old registered sex offender boyfriend. She's still going to make threats. She's still going to act out of her damn mind. And DSHS and CPS still came up and said, it's not our responsibility. We're not going to do it. God bless the judge. The judge looked at the Attorney General and said, well, I don't agree with your reading of the statute. She's been in DSHS before. There's still a dependency order in there. So as I read it, you guys have every responsibility to take her. The statute does say the parents are required to take her if they do not have reasonable decisions as to why they aren't taking her. And the judge said he believed that all of our reasoning was valid. He then looked at CPS and said, you guys have a responsibility to take her. I'm not going to send her back to either one of her parents. I'm going to remit her into the custody of the Division of Youth and Family Child and DCYS, which is what he did. And I walked out of court sad and defeated with a minor victory under my belt. Was that she was at least going to get released to foster care where there would be some type of oversight provided over her. And if she bolted from foster care, then another runaway report would be issued and it would all start anew. After court, I left court and went to Walmart to pick up something before I went back and went back to my house. And on my way back from Walmart, I received a phone call from DCYF. This Kevin? Yeah. I'm in your driveway with your daughter. We're dropping her off to you. Excuse me? Yeah, according to my supervisor, that's what we're doing. We'll get your supervisor on the phone. So they did. And the supervisor explained to me through conference call that it was not their responsibility, that they were not going to place her in foster home. They were not going to do anything that the judge asked them or ordered them to do in the order, and that they were going to deliver her to me because, as they said, we are not a babysitter. We are not child drop-off. We only take care of kids that are abused or victims of neglect.
Isn't she a victim of herself?
She's a victim of neglect from before I got her.
Well, I mean but she's a victim of herself now.
Yeah.
They
don't care.
should be absolutely.
They don't care. So then I get home and I have a conversation with the DCYF worker and my daughter. My daughter makes it clear she's not going to stay there. She's going to run the first chance she gets, which is exactly what I said. She tells the DCYF worker that she's going to run as soon as she gets an opportunity, but she'd really like a ride back into Bremerton because if she has to run from my house, it's just going to take her longer to get where the buses are. So the DCYF worker gives her a ride back into Bremerton, where she promptly jumps out of the car at the corner of 6th and Warren and runs. DCYF then sends a text message to her mother, who sends it to me, that says, hey, your daughter jumped out of the car and we're closing our case. This is what we have set our children up for. This is what we have done to parents and parental rights. I have a 17-year-old daughter that the state has essentially said every which way that they can, we will not help, we do not want to help, and we do not care when you find her in a ditch. I had 3 people walk up to me after the hearing before I left the court hearing that said they were shocked and they were sad and they could not believe it had come to this, and that I spoke very well in defense of my daughter. One of them was a security guy. He hears this stuff all the time. And yet it didn't make a difference to the state. Why are we funneling billions of dollars to DCYF and DSHS and CPS if their response is, well, we have a child who's in trouble. We have a child who's clearly addicted to drugs, including fentanyl, which is one of the leading killers of our kids. She's clearly not making sound and wise decisions. She's running around the county with a 29-year-old sex offender. She's violated every single rule the court has put on her to keep her in school through the WISE program, to keep her off of drugs, to keep her out of trouble. And when she violated every single rule that they'd put before her, their response was, well, we'll just take the at-risk youth petition off of her, which removes any responsibility of her to follow any of their rules. In fact, they don't have any rules now. And when tasked with an order from the judge for DCYF to take her into custody, not only did they do nothing to keep her from running, but they conspired with her to give her a ride to Bremerton so that she could flee.
They did the opposite of the court order.
They aided and abetted. So they not only violated the court order, which I'll be in court tomorrow, because she's supposed to be in court tomorrow at 1:30, and I guarantee you she's not going to show, but I'll damn straight well be there.
Ask the judge to.
I'm going to ask the judge to hold them
in
contempt of court for violating the order. And I'm going to ask the judge to hold them as an accomplice because they knew that she was going to run. Why would you give her a ride into Bremerton when you know that you're just giving her a ride to the place she wants to run? If I picked up a random runaway and she said, I need to get to my boyfriend's house in Tacoma, and I knew she was a runaway and I took her to Tacoma, you know damn straight they'd arrest my ass. But they didn't do it today. They aided and abetted and it was fine. What the DCYF worker should have done was called a police officer to escort them. That's what they should have done. It's not what they did. Our children are dying by the thousands. Drug abuse is running rampant. Our legislature has done everything to tie parents' hands. And by the way, CPS and DSHS, I don't blame them half as much as you think I do. But this is where we stand. And nothing we do today, nothing we do is going to matter for my daughter because she'll be 18 in 5 months. But it will impact your kids. It will impact your grandchildren. It will impact my grandchildren. It will impact every last goddamn one of them. And this
And
is
be
what
for
we're
sure,
signed
it
for.
ain't going to get better.
It will only get better if we do something now. And then it will take years. I spoke with CPS workers today who told me flat out, you know what? I understand why they invoke if you're over 13, you get to make your own medical decisions law. And there are some situations where that makes sense. But hand over fist, predominantly it's worked against us, not for us.
That's because 13-year-olds are stupid.
One of them even said today in court, we know that she's not going to be mentally mature till she's 25. California says 26, whatever. Her brain is not fully developed till she's 25. And yet again, as I've said on the show before, we've given them the ability at 13 to make decisions that 25-year-olds can't make if their brains aren't fully developed. The adults in the room should be the adults in the room. The adults in the room should be the ones making important decisions for children that are hooked on drugs, making irrational choices, decisions that will leave them dead. And we're leaving the decisions to children who can't figure out the proper way to wipe their ass. I walked out of court sad and dejected with a minor victory that she had been resolved to be handed over to DCYF and they would do something to benefit her because her mother and I cannot. I stand on the show to you tonight defeated and dejected and a failure. Understanding that it is fully more likely than not that I will find her in a ditch before she gets help. And if you care about your kids, if you care about your grandkids, if you care about your community, if you care about what's happening and what's coming, then I implore you to make a change. I implore you to do something. We'll take a break. We will not come back on air during the break. I need a second. We'll be back after this on Outlaw. All right, are we back? Thank you, Phil. I was getting hugs from Tom. All right.
Hey, I was passing hugs along from
Yes, you were.
From the chat, my friend.
So I'm going to say this. I'm not looking at chat. I'm not going to look at chat at all tonight. I'm leaving chat duties to Tom. Outlaw Radio, by the way. Welcome back. I'm not going to look at the chat. I don't have the stomach for it.
Jesus, Kevin.
My fear is that, and I'm going to use Holly as the example because she's always the one to have mean things to say. I don't want to read somebody talking smack about me in chat. Tom says nobody has. I love you guys. Thank you. But if somebody does, I'm going to lose my mind. I'm being intellectually honest. I'll just lose my mind. So I'm not going to do it. Tom is in charge of chat. I'll go back and look at chat later when I'm in a better mental space. But I am smart enough to know what I should not do. Phil?
And we do have Joe online. He did say he had something on this topic, maybe another one, but just so you know what's going on there.
All right. Let's before I bring Joe on, I want to get any comments from Tom or Paul. They were nice enough just to give me this segment and let me just ramble. And so I love my co-hosts immensely. Paul, do you have anything?
Can you hear me okay?
I think so.
Sound good to me.
Sounds sexy as hell to me.
Well, to get into the minutia of it, but first let me to courts tomorrow at 1:30, right?
Yeah, to courts tomorrow at 1:30.
Just checking. So I'll see you there.
All right. You know where it is?
Here's the thing.
You know where the juvenile court is?
The courthouse?
No, it's right down the road. Right down the road.
No, I thought that was in the regular courthouse. It's real.
No, it's right at the Tremont. Paul, you got to call back on your regular phone. You're cutting in and out so bad it's awful. It's at the the juvenile facility. Yeah, it's at the juvenile facility off of Tremont.
Kind of between Tremont
Okay.
and Anderson Hill Road.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
like you're headed to my house off the highway. Yeah, that back way.
Okay.
Paul, will you call back on your landline or on your cell?
He's sounding okay right
Just
now.
a-
It was just one glitch.
Nope. See, there he went.
Did you just call me a witch with a B?
No,
I don't
see,
know.
there he goes.
listen.
A glitch. GL.
Glitch.
How's that?
No, that was
Here's what I would. The first thing that really pops out is the definition of when you basically disrespect the judge, his orders, his rules, right? What do we call that? Contempt. I would make the case that those DA, the new acronym is for them, was in contempt of court.
Yeah, I'm gonna argue
because that's what they did, right? The judge ordered them, right? So you read the definite, and the judge will tell you, I know the definition of contempt of court. Okay, good, Your Honor. Just wanted to make sure we're all on the same sheet of music.
Yeah, I'm going to make that argument at court,
right? Good, because that's what it was. That's the quintessential definition of contempt of court, and not prepared to hold them accountable. Sincerely ask the question why, and let the judge explain himself. And you want to talk about cannon fodder for radio? Let a judge explain why, when you hear concise contempt of court perpetrated by state workers, why he wouldn't hold them in contempt of court. So, that'll be good radio fodder right there.
Yeah.
The rest of it starts getting into deep stuff. We've talked about this on air. We've talked about the issues with my. So it is a deep issue. Out to Tara Simmons on more than one occasion and asked her to care to discuss these issues. Listen, I make no bones about it. Republicans have not been in charge of this state or anything since 1988. Every single issue we say along these lines right now is the result of Democrats and the rules and the progressive values that they have put forth. This is absolutely the result of progressive Democrat values. Not regular Democrats, progressive Democrats. And it's why I say to everybody to echo, if you give a damn about your kids, if you give two craps about your grandkids, if you care about the things that are going to happen to them in the future, this is where we're at now. Where do you think we'll be in 5 years? Because I guarantee you, in our worst nightmares, Kevin could not have thought this is where we'd be 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, I spewed all kinds of ridiculous BS about where I thought we would be because of the slip they started going down 20 years ago. I didn't think they'd be here. I didn't. But here we are.
Nope,
And
exactly.
and you're a walking, talking example of it, Kevin. So
Yeah.
I would go in there with your pissed off face, your best attitude, ready to have a polite K-Dog memorial moment.
Yeah, maybe.
I know that those are mutual, but
I love you, Paul. Call back on your landline, will you? Because I hate
Okay.
that we lose.
And Paul, you have to call the alternate number because the call rollover doesn't work.
Yeah, call the alternate number.
You're gonna have to put that in. I don't know.
The
I'll put it
alternate
in
number
chat.
is 360-874. No, sorry. Eight. It's not up there anymore. Where'd it go?
I'll put it on chat.
Okay, he'll send it in chat.
In the
Goodbye,
chat.
Paul.
Thank you. Bye.
Tom.
Hey.
You have anything you want to say? And if not, you don't have to. I wanted to give you room.
I am one of those brains that needs to take something like what you've just shared, and I've got to sit and like ruminate on it for a little bit. I'm kind of like a cow. I need to chew my cud.
Things that sound dirty but aren't.
and I mean, right now, just my immediate knee-jerk response, my immediate emotional response is, outrage. This is ridiculous. But then, I go to, how do you fix it? And how do you fix it is so much more difficult. But I think that's what makes everyone feel better. If you have a light at the end of the tunnel and you can see a path. Right now, there's no path.
No.
This is just an outrage. It's ridiculous.
Well, I think too, and we'll get to Joe next. I think too, Bart, one of the larger issues is that just genetically, men are predispositioned to want to fix things.
Yes.
And I'm not. This isn't a men are good, women are bad thing. That's not what I'm saying.
No.
But men are predispositioned to want to fix things. It's part of our DNA, right? And I'm very much a fixer, right? I want to fix things. I want to fix people. I want to help situations. I want, what I mean? I want to do things that help, right? Wherever I can. It's part of the reasons that some of my relationships didn't work is because rather than just listen and being present for them, I would try to fix the situation. That's not what they wanted. I want to fix this situation for my kid. And I can't. And I can't come up with a resolution. I can't come up with a cure. I can't come up with a pathway to fix this. And so I'm relying on the experts.
The experts are lost.
The experts are lost. I'm relying on the people that are paid to do this for a living by state agencies that should have a roadmap, that have put plans in place. Listen, they put restrictions on her to begin with. Do this and do this and do this. And today they said, well, we're not going to ask you to do that anymore. Why? Not because she did it, but because she did it wrong so many times and disobeyed them so many times, they wanted to punt. What benefit does punting do? Because in 6 months, she's going to be an 18-year-old. Able to do whatever she wants to, go wherever she wants to, but these issues are not going to go away. Her drug use is not going to go away. Her violent behavior is not going to go away. And she's going to go from a child who could be helped through the state, through these mandated programs, to get counseling, to get anger management, to get drug and alcohol treatment mandatorily. My Native American tribe was lined up to help her. But the court had to intervene and they couldn't. I'm not mad at the judge.
No,
because his hands are tied.
It sounds like the judge did the best he could.
And the result is, rather than help her, rather than make her help herself, they punt. And all the state showed me today is that they're going to punt repeatedly, because they tried to punt multiple times in court and the judge didn't let it go. They tried to nail me and her mom and say, well, if you don't take her to come live with you, we want to hold you and hold you responsible with fines and potential jail time. And the judge saw through that BS. And then, when ordered by the judge to take her into custody, not only did they not take her into custody and do what they needed to do with her, they showed up at my house and tried to drop her off. And then when that didn't work, they aided and abetted driving her into Bremerton to give her a ride closer to where she wanted to be before she ran away. This isn't just the state being lazy and turning a blind eye. This is a state actively conspiring with an immature, drug-addicted 17-year-old delinquent and allowing her to continue down the path that she's continuing down to that'll put her in a casket. Let's bring Joe on the line. Joe, talk to us.
Hey, Kevin. Listen, first off, I want to. I was going to bring up another subject that I don't know if we'll have time, but you're not defeated. You showed up. You know, I hate to be corny, but like on the West Wing, decisions are made by those who show up, and you're showing up. So you're not defeated yet. You know, you're still in the game.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, well, it's like you're quite welcome. It's like of our Seahawks. You know, had a few fourth quarter shockers, man.
Coaching changes. And this has been a bad day, man. This is just, Pete's gone. Court didn't go great. I didn't wake up to a sandwich laying next to me on a little table on my bedside. This has been a bad day. Philip, Joe, can I ask you, I want to hear whatever topic you want to bring up. Can you call back after 8? Can we get to that in the second hour? Would that be okay?
Yeah, let's do it in the second hour. Thanks.
Hey, Joe, I love you, man. Thank you.
Same here.
All right.
Go
talk soon.
Invest you
Go
and your
Hawks.
family.
Thanks, man.
Okay.
All right. There goes Joe. All right. Do you have any comments in chat you want to share? I will say this too, as Tom is looking at stuff. I reached out to 4 state representatives and asked them to listen to the first hour of the show. Tara, Travis, Michelle Caldier, and Dan Griffey. I don't expect to hear from Caldier, just given our past and the issues that we've had. But I know that it has been very close to Michelle's heart to advocate and fight for children and families. And so there's that. I know the heart that Dan has. I know the heart that Travis has. I know the heart that Tara has. I know there's a Democrat mixed in there. Shut up. I don't care. I'm hoping that one of them seizes this story. I'm hoping that one of them uses this as motivation. I really hope Tara does. Now, nothing against Travis and nothing against Dan or Michelle, but they're Republicans in a Democrat-controlled legislative body. You know, they can propose bills all day and all night. Unless they can find a Democrat that partners with them, they're going to have a hard time moving legislation. My hope is that all 4 of them get together and do something, but at least Tara and one of them, because Tara's a Dem. She's well liked within her circles. She can make something happen, and something needs to happen. And I'll be straight up with you people. If I hear from them, I'll share with you what they say.
Kevin.
If I don't hear from them, I'll share with you that too. If one of them says, come down and speak to us in Olympia, share the whole story.
There's another way. Lori had a good suggestion in chat.
Strip off my clothes and run naked through the mall?
No, we have friends.
We do have friends.
I'm willing to bet that if we reach out to Brandy, that this could be a conversation on Undivided.
I think it should be.
It could be.
Yeah. I'll let you I'll reach out to Brandy.
I'll see what I can do.
It will require substantive change in our government, in our laws, in our legislative bodies. Your family is not safe. I don't care who you are. Your family is not safe. I believe to this day, when I got custody of my daughter, that we did everything right. But the damage that she carried from the life she had before I got her was a ghost in the back of her head. And that ghost was waiting to pop up at any time. Our kids are under attack. Our rights as parents are under attack. Our ability to parent is under attack. And I mean this. Nothing we do is going to have any say what happens on my daughter. Even if Travis and Michelle and Dan and Tara all got together in a big kumbaya moment on the House floor and they got legislation tomorrow, it would not be passed in time to have any impact on my daughter. But it can still do something for somebody else's kid. And that's all I can ask for right now. Tom, you got anything in chat you want to share? Really, nobody said anything mean about me tonight?
No one has said anything
I don't know
mean.
what to do with that.
Yeah, no, Kevin, you have
Well,
one.
Holly isn't on yet.
Give it time.
I think Lori had the right person. I thought the same. Jim Walsh. He's a good voice.
Well, the only reason I'm not reaching out to Jim is I feel like we have relationships with Dan, Tara, and Travis.
Which we do.
You know?
You're correct.
Yeah. And if Jesse were still in office, I would have reached out to Jesse, obviously, because I love that guy and his integrity. I would have reached out to Jesse.
Well, but still reach out to Jesse. I mean, he still has connections.
Well, I'm gonna wait.
He's not in office anymore.
I've given our legislative representatives an ability to get involved and to see what they can do and see if they want to do something. If they don't, if they've got other legislative priorities, more power to them. But I'm gonna give the four the opportunity to do something, and see if they agree. You know, maybe they look at it and go, Tara. I'm going to use Tara as the example because again, she's a Democrat, and we have a lot of suppositions about the Democrat Party and the left. Maybe Tara looks at this and says, you know, yours is a one-off, Kevin, and the way the laws out are far beneficial for the whole, and so I don't think we need to change. Maybe she says that. I don't know. Maybe she says, Kevin, you're right. This is all screwed. I don't know what she says, but I want to give them the opportunity to formulate an opinion, and then yeah.
The stories like yours that I've heard, they're all kind of similar.
Yeah.
You know, you've got apathetic bureaucrats that are just punching a clock. Because I mean, that's really what you get, apathetic bureaucrats, which is why. And just, okay, we'll drop her off on the corner of, what would you say, 6th and Warren?
6th and Warren.
Yeah, 6th and Warren. That's a nice part of town.
Well, she said that she jumped out of the car at 6th and Warren, but I'd be willing. I'm going to accuse somebody of something I've got no basis of fact in. Just going to tell you, I wouldn't be surprised if she pulled over in the parking lot out in front of Starbucks and let her out. Okay? Yeah. Now, I don't have the ability to go request video records from the Starbucks parking lot. But I know that the court
But an attorney would.
Well, I know the court could. And I will say this to a lawyer, if there's a lawyer listening, if there's a state representative listening, I will go to bat. I will go to town. I will drive anywhere you ask me to drive to share this story. I will do whatever you need me to do to enforce some kind of change. I will make myself the poster child for bad dad. If that's what it takes. And I probably should have done it before. I had faith that we were on the right path with this WISE program and the at-risk youth petitions and everything else that we were doing. That if she violated it enough, they would enforce stuff on her, and them enforcing stuff on her was 7 days in juvie. And that 7 days wasn't even because she did anything that she wasn't supposed to do. It's because she chucked a water bottle in the court and nearly hit a clerk in the head. That was enough to piss them off for a week because she threw a water bottle. But her doing drugs and her running away and her shacking up in a tent with a 29-year-old sex offender, her making threats to her mother and her siblings and their pets, well, that's clearly okay, according to the state. Phil, were you going to say something?
Can I ask, what did the judge, do you have any input about this boyfriend sex offender? Like,
no.
I mean, I'd be interested, like.
The issue is, as I understand it, is the sex offender was a minor when he committed the infractions. There is nothing on his community supervision that restricts him from being around minors.
Does he have to register?
I would assume so. I mean, I know he's a registered sex offender, and he has to report every week to probation or whatever they call it now. But because he was a minor, there was no restriction on him. Because she's over 16, she's above the age of consent in the state of Washington. So he's not breaking the law, per se. And it's gross. It's weird. But he's not violating the terms of anything.
You know, just realized, sadly, she kind of got her wish. Is being treated like an adult. Well,
yeah, well,
there you are. It's not probably going to end well, but
no, it's not. It's not.
Oh,
I,
man.
I, I tell you that I tell you this right now, Phil, Tom, Paul, everybody listening. My biggest fear as a father is burying her.
Yeah.
You know, and when we allow our kids to have no limits, to have no boundaries, to have no expectations, she's a smart ass kid. She's brilliant. She's like Darth Vader. She's using it for the dark side, but she's brilliant. But you introduce meth and amphetamines and worse, fentanyl. It is a matter of time. Maybe
Wait
it's
till you get a
hours.
knock on the door.
Yeah, I
They
mean,
need
because
you to take care of your
with those
grandchild.
drugs,
Here's your grandchild, Kevin.
yeah, I mean, it's a matter of time. Yeah, I hope the worst thing that comes out of this, Paul, is she gets pregnant.
Right? Yeah.
You know what I mean? I
All
hope that's
things
the worst
considered,
scenario that
yes.
comes out of this. And
Yep.
I will take that baby. I will go to court. I will fight, and I will take that baby until she's fit. But I don't see a happy ending. I don't see a scenario where this goes right. I don't see any way that this doesn't become a disaster.
For sure. How could you? How could you?
I just feel like it's toast. Tom, I want to give you a chance. Sorry, I know there's people in chat. I want to give you a chance.
No.
You mentioned Debbie's comment. Debbie said get her out of state.
Yeah.
There's no way to do it.
So that what we did have that conversation off mic.
Yeah. There's no way to do it. The problem is, if I touch her, even to put her in the car or to stop her from running, I'm guilty of assault.
Yeah.
That's straight out of a police officer.
Yeah.
Okay. So getting her out of state would require her to consent to go out of state, which she's not going to do because she's in love with her 29-year-old boyfriend.
What if she just woke up out of state?
Well, again, I would have to commit a felony to do it. And listen, I got a mom I'm caring
Hey,
for.
who
I
says
got
you have to commit it.
I got other kids. I got, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you've
Like,
got friends too.
I got responsibilities. I'm not, and we're on live radio, so we should probably not conspire.
Ty has a good point. There's a point of I mean, obviously seek wise counsel, but he says you need to cut up ties with her. You know, there may be some wisdom in that, and it's hard. Your dad, you love your daughter.
Well, the problem is she's cut ties with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not going to hear from her again until she's ready. You know, she didn't call it Christmas. She specifically told her mom that she knew that my mom and I were reaching out to her, but she wasn't going to read the messages on Facebook. That was the only way we had to get a hold of her. She didn't have a phone anymore. Mm-hmm. So, you know, she's drawn this line in the sand. And she told me today when I saw her, I'm not mad at you. I don't dislike you. I'm just not living with you. I'm going to go live where I want to live with who I want to live with. I'm going to go do what I want to do with who I want to do it with. So she can't even verbalize to me what her issue is with me, other than the fact that with me comes expectations. With me comes some structure.
Well, accountability.
Yeah. And so maybe that's her issue. She got a lot of problems with her mom.
Well,
a lot. But
accountability is such a difficult thing for so many people nowadays.
Yeah.
I mean, heaven forbid I be accountable for any of my actions. That's the,
Yeah. And there's a lot of decisions I've made that I'm not going to get into on air, just about my life, that I will always wonder if it contributed to that. You know, there's a lot of decisions I've made. There's a lot of things that gone on that didn't involve my daughter. We've talked on the show before about the relationship I was in that ended in 2020 late 2019 because she stole like $24,000 from me. Remember that conversation, Paul? But
yeah.
But part of me wonders if the end of that relationship didn't start my daughter spiraling, because that was upheaval. That was change. That was stress. That was another adult in her life that she knew and had an element of trust with that was no longer there. You know, and I don't know. I'm never gonna know. And so you know me,
listen,
Paul.
Brother.
I'm gonna replay. I'm gonna replay
Yes.
events and scenarios in my head, and I'm gonna blame myself.
And that's what
for
I
a
was
lot of
gonna
stuff.
get at, man. You've got to find peace within yourself to stop doing that. but that really requires you finding peace within yourself. And
Yeah,
that's a big thing.
I'll find peace when I know she's safe. Any other comments in chat, Tom?
So there has been maybe a wondering, an idea, an inkling, whatever. If she were emancipated, what would the court do then? Or would the court just keep doing the same thing they're doing now?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think if you're emancipated, you're treated as an adult. So then all of this would be moot. Because like when she turns 18, it's all moot. She can, she technically, as of yet, with the exception of making threats and violating the terms of her at-risk youth program, which wouldn't have been in effect if she was an adult. She hasn't and drugs. She hasn't broken a law. They don't have her for theft. They don't have her for burglary. They don't have her for anything else yet. I say yet. So if she was emancipated, I would assume that the court would have no say and no influence until she broke the law.
Yeah.
And then she would just
go into the system as someone who broke the law.
And she would do what she's doing now.
Right.
The only difference is right now she's reported as a runaway again.
Right. And that's only, like you said, 5 more months.
Yeah. And when she's 18, then God, I had hoped we could get her into counseling, into some required counseling stuff. And I'd hope we could get her into drug and alcohol rehab before she turned 18. I'd hope we could plant some seeds. And that's, Tom, anything else?
There was one other comment.
Anybody comment on how sexy I am tonight? Anybody?
Absolutely. All of them.
Sure they are.
No, so someone said that, she's kind of drawn her line, and now you need to draw yours, because, you've got other people relying on you and other people depending upon you, and you don't necessarily need this mess spilling into everyday life although it probably has already.
It has, and it will.
Yeah.
I have my line.
Yeah.
I told her today when I talked that she's not allowed to come to my house.
Okay.
Because I can't verify if she's on drugs.
Right.
What kind of drugs she's on. What has she done? How is she going to act? What is she going to do?
Yeah.
If this was about my daughter that lives with me, my younger daughter that lives with me, it'd be different.
She's a good kid.
She's a good kid and she won't take any crap.
Right.
But I do have serious concerns about my mom, her mental health, her physical health, and the plethora of prescription medications I have in that house that she has to take.
Right.
That would fetch a pretty penny on the street or get her plenty high. So all of that comes into play. And I told her today, I love you. You can come home whenever you want to. The door is always open.
Good.
But that comes with expectations.
Yep.
That comes with ground rules and passing P tests and doing things you're supposed to do.
Right.
And if you're not willing to do those, you can't come back. And she's not going to come back right now. We'll look at some more comments, I think, in the top of the hour. We'll switch things up and go national and get away from this. I will say this really quickly to all of you guys on the show tonight, the hosts, the people in the chat room, the people listening. Thanks for the love and support. I love you guys. Sorry for airing my personal business, but I love you guys for being so nice about it. Outlaw Radio. All right, Outlaw Radio. Ty wants me to wear my Ace Ventura shirt again. I look really good in that shirt.
You do.
It felt warmer. It didn't feel like snow weather.
No, Hawaiian shirts fix.
Any other comments in chat before we put this whole thing to bed?
Oh, let me see here.
Well, I will commit. If anything else happens, I'll let the listeners know. I've kind of drug all you guys in now to this cornucopia of craziness, but I don't expect we're going to have anything new for a while.
Well,
unless it's really bad.
With that sentiment right there.
Yes.
Corey says, as sad as it sounds, sometimes there's nothing you can do but be a good dad and wait for it to come to you for help.
Prodigal son. Yep. Anything else?
And then I mean, a segue out of this conversation could be Ty's question. Who's winning the Outlaw Invitational this year?
Well, it depends if Paul tries to get everybody to go against me like he did last year, and then nobody goes against me but Paul.
Oh, shut up. That was all on Debbie. Debbie was the little mistress that could. She's
Well,
the one that
Tom didn't
decided-
either.
Hell, I didn't go after any of you. I just wanted to win the damn race. And I was doing fine till turn 1 again. Turn 1 was my nemesis the first year, too.
You know
Yeah.
what, Tom?
What's that, bud?
You told me. I talked to you. I talked to Debbie. We all sat and chatted before the race started. We said, we
yeah.
can't let Kevin win. His
No, I
ego
agree.
will go through the roof. And
I
you
agree.
agreed, and
I
Debbie
did.
agreed, and you guys were
She
all
did
about it.
too.
And then you just sat there on there and you're like, well, I didn't do it. I wasn't going to do
No,
it. I was
I
doing just
agreed.
fine not doing it.
I agreed with you just fine. And I figured the best way for me to make sure Kevin didn't win was for me to win.
Whatever, jerk. All right. Any other comments? I want to get through these.
know.
We'll put this to bed.
No, I'm honestly, Kevin,
Nothing else, okay.
we're in real time. I've been trying to give them to you as
Okay,
they've been
all
coming in. So
I meant what I said. Paul, Tom, Philip, I love you guys. Thank you for being so supportive and just in general behind the scenes and on the show. Paul, I still think you need to quit wearing scarves. And to the people that are listening,
Called a schmog.
those who have been interacting in the chat with a positive word. Thanks, guys. It means a lot. All right. You know what? I don't want to get into a big topic because we're gonna segue off when we get back on AM in about 3 minutes or 2.5 minutes. Were you guys as shocked as I was that Pete Carroll was ousted today as head coach of your Seattle Seahawks?
no.
You know, let me say this. Strangely enough, I mean, the rumors have been floating for the last week and a half or so that Seattle was actively pursuing Quinn from Dallas, and that the owner, Paul Allen's daughter, I think it is, right? She's the chairman and CEO.
No, it's his, Paul Allen's sister.
Okay, she was making waves that she felt the team needed to get back. She was very disappointed the last few games of the season and during the losing spell because she felt Pete was a defensive-minded coach, which he was, and that the team had ultimately gotten way away from the defensive-minded strategies. Hence, it wasn't doing well. She like the offense is just fine, but the defense can't stop, anything. So, Dan Quinn, those rumors were swinging about. And now Adam Schefter is reporting Dan Quinn is first on the list, followed number 2 by everybody in the Puget Sound's great nemesis, the coach of the Michigan Wolverines, Jim Harbaugh. And that's coming from Adam Schefter, of ESPN fame. So he's not being quiet about it. And that Michigan has offered Jim Harbaugh a $135 million contract, which is $13.5 million a year for 10 years. With the only caveat being that for the year 2024, he cannot talk to any NFL teams. But he has not signed that contract, and he hired an agent last week.
Well, Harbaugh has the last I heard, having been a former Charger, Harbaugh is talking to the Chargers because they need a head coach.
I'll tell you, man, I wanted
Raiders.
to look that up. You said that earlier, and I went trying to find that, and I couldn't find any confirmation of that. So that's not saying it ain't true, by the way. Just saying I couldn't find any confirmation.
Mike Vrabel will be the head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers next year.
That's the name I saw floated with the Chargers. Yeah.
All right, Outlaw Radio. We're getting some real topics.
You never know. You never know. Could be anything.
Outlaw Radio. We're coming back with some real topics next on the Megatalk Radio Network. I got pants on.
Pants are overrated.
Yay for pants.
.com.
.com.
Somewhere out there is a villain with the potential to serve greatness. Let's hear it for Kevin. He saved his tribe.
Glorious! No, I won't give in till I'm victorious. And I will defend.
All I have to say is, in all honesty, this show is the only thing keeping me sane. So we're clear. This show.
This show.
This show is the only thing that keeps me sane in my life. This
right.
show.
This ragged group of
Yes.
ragamuffins.
Yeah. I don't have a wife to go
I
home
resemble
to.
that.
I don't have a wife to go home to. All my kids are teenagers are better. So they like spending quality time with dad is not at the top of the list. My dogs spend more time licking themselves and wanting me to play with them. It's, this show keeps me sane.
And just think, I have a wife to go home to, but I'm here with you.
You have a wife at home. She's just not at home when you get out of here because she's at work.
No, she's at home.
Oh, is she
sleeping?
Oh, sleeping.
I could be home.
Does she ever give you
Awkwardly
crap?
watching her.
Does she ever give you crap? It's like Sam. I think it was Sam Kinison, Paul, that did the joke about about you know how you know that Jesus wasn't married because no wife lets her husband leave for 3 days. Jesus comes back and his cross is in the yard. His wife is like, "So, where have you been? Where are those 12 losers that won't get a job?" Anyway,
now you know that the resurrection and the whole in the tomb was truly a miracle. I mean, a single man folded his clothes. I mean, a miracle.
Yeah, that's true. All right. One thing I want to ask you about, Paul, I don't know. Did you have any chance to watch the really not as important as it should have been Republican debate tonight with Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis? Did you have any chance to peruse that showcase of the immortals?
I will tell you what, I was so into that debate tonight, I didn't even know it was happening. That's how much it meant. But Chris Christie gave a rousing rendition of why he was running against Donald Trump promptly before he said, "And I quit."
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, this.
Well, did
this
you hear
dumbass, his mic?
Did you
was
hear
hot,
his?
Man.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you hear about his off mic comments? So, for the listeners who don't know, he had a like a speech tonight where he gave all the stuff about Trump, why Trump is bad, blah 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 blah, and then he announced that he was dropping out of the race. Now, for logistically, it doesn't matter. He wasn't polling enough numbers to make a difference. He really wasn't a threat to anybody.
Well, let me preface what you just said with this.
Mm-hmm.
If his voters, all of his voters, go and pull up stake and plant for Nikki Haley, she'll be running a pretty close race. She'll only be like 5 or 6 points behind.
But
Trump.
that's the problem, right? Because the experts are saying they expect him to endorse her, but he was caught with a hot mic tonight before his thing where he said, I don't want to misquote him, but what did he say, that she's going to get toasted or something like that? That she's just not ready for this or something?
Haley was going to get smoked?
Smoked, yeah, that's what he said. She's going to get smoked. She's not ready for this. I don't know how he can endorse her now. Like, how do you get caught on an open mic saying, boy, this candidate is not ready for prime time. She's going to get smoked. And then think that you can come out in a couple of days and endorse her. He's certainly not going to endorse DeSantis. I mean, this is the dumb stuff that Republicans do.
He can still endorse her.
How can he endorse her?
Because the American public is stupid. They're going to forget what he said 2 days ago.
But if DeSantis is smart, his PR team won't let people forget.
Well,
you know what I mean? If Trump is smart, he won't let the PR people forget.
True.
Because listen, if you're Donald Trump, you are politically exactly where you want to be. Larry Moe and Curly are so busy fighting with themselves, they're not even really worried about you, and you're the front runner. And when Larry drops out, he's on audio saying that the biggest threat that Trump has is not ready for this and she's going to get smoked. I hold on, let me get my tinfoil hat. It's almost like they want Trump to be the candidate. It's almost like they want to hand it to him on a silver platter and say, well, we tried, but Trump was just too much to overcome.
You don't think the GOP wants that?
No, I don't. I don't think the mainstream GOP does. I think certain members of the GOP do, but I think the moderate members of the GOP, the popular members of the GOP, look, the last two elections, what have we seen? Trump-backed
I can't
conservatives.
answer
Cheating,
that, Arnie.
lots and lots of cheating.
Well, Trump-backed conservatives getting their asses handed to them in elections. Like the last two elections, candidates who aligned themselves with Trump were beaten nearly across the board in legislative and governor races. Nearly across the board. So no, I think if you got whoever's in charge of the GOP today, and I'm not even sure who it is. I don't think it's Reince Priebus anymore. I think he's been gone for a while. Whoever it is,
It's a lady. I forget her name off the top of my head.
If you got her in a candid moment, no cameras, no microphones, just a bit of drunk honesty, I think she would say, hell no, we don't want him anywhere near this. I think they want Nikki. But I don't the party is fractured at the seams. Well, and they're going to do more damage to each other. And Trump is just going to float right on by. And who does DeSantis endorse? That's a question, Paul and Tom. Who does DeSantis endorse? Let's say Nikki Haley gets the nomination. Does DeSantis endorse Haley? Or does DeSantis endorse Trump? Because DeSantis and Trump used to be buddy, right?
They did. And then strangely enough, Trump started taking shots at him when the rumor mill had it that he was talking about running for president. Like as soon as Trump heard the rumors that he was thinking about it, and I think that it became a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? If you're Ron DeSantis and rumors start spreading, you're looking at running for president, Trump starts attacking you, and his mind goes to, geez, this guy must think I can beat him. And I think part of the reason that DeSantis decided to run was because of the things that Trump said and did towards him.
Yeah. Look, you can only insinuate someone's a punk for so long before the punk decides, well, I'm going to have to do something.
You've given me the moniker. Now I'll earn it.
or so, I mean, listen, DeSantis was, do you remember this magical time about a year ago when DeSantis was the heir apparent? Everyone was waiting for DeSantis to announce he was going to be the guy to challenge Trump. He was going to do great things. He was going to be the alternative to Orange Man. And then he promptly crapped all over himself. Like from the beginning with his speeches and everything.
So I said this, I remember how long ago it was, 3 months, something like that, when everyone just started getting ramped up about talking about the 24 election. I said I didn't think it would be Trump or Biden on the ticket, right? There's other people that are starting to agree that, okay, Trump, probably not going anywhere, but he doesn't have any health issues. Well, that we know of. Yeah.
Although I did hear that he has a rare blood disease. Did you hear about this?
No.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Well, there's rumors that he has this rare blood disease where all the iron in his blood sinks to his ass and turns to lead.
Right.
Yeah. But other than that, I don't think he has.
Yeah.
Anything.
No. I could.
By the way, that was a joke. I'm not a doctor. I just play one on the radio. Go ahead, Tom.
But gonosypherplates.
So anyway, I was reading here. I think it was earlier today. It might have been yesterday. That some thinker from J.P. Morgan Chase has pontificated, if you will, that he's in the same boat I am. He doesn't think Biden's going to make it to the 24 election. So Biden will drop out for health issues. The supposition is sometime March-ish.
Do you know that Biden is not on the Iowa caucus ballot for Democrats?
I'm not surprised. I'm really not.
I guess why isn't he? I mean, again,
I really don't think he's going to see the election through. Trump's so much of an egomaniac; he's going to see it through. But Biden, I don't think Biden's going to see it through. Between the impeachment inquiries and the fact that he gets lost trying to get off stage, and he wants to sleep till noon every day. Yeah. I just don't see him finishing another term.
I saw a video.
Another turn.
I saw a video. It's been floating around for about 6 months now, but it shows Biden and the Indian Prime Minister. Paul, have you seen this? Biden and the Indian Prime Minister out in front of the White House, and they play the
No.
Indian national anthem, and Biden believes it's the U.S. national anthem and puts his hand over his heart and stands there until about 30 seconds into the national anthem, where he slowly realizes, oh crap, this isn't Star Spangled Banner, and you see him slowly start lowering his hand.
Wow.
Go watch it. Just Google Biden forgets national anthem in Google. Not during this show. After the show's over, and just watch it. It's like a slow motion Wile E. Coyote moment.
So with half of that equation,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so we already know that third party candidates, whatever. So
No chance, right?
Yeah, we're pretty sure it'll be Trump, and let's pretend for just a second that it's not Biden.
I love to pretend.
Yeah. So who's the DNC put up that
Newsom
they think can beat Newsom? Can't beat Trump. There's no way in hell he can beat Trump. Newsom's a dumpster fire. He's bankrupted his state.
Every Democrat is a dumpster fire, Tom. Can you name one Democrat that has mainstream Democrat Party backing that's not a dumpster fire? I mean, and by the way,
do I get to use Google for this?
By the way,
when you qualify it like that, no.
Conservatives are going to giggle with glee if they pick Newsom. Because if they pick Newsom, then they're omitting Kamala. And then you will see division in the Democrat Party, because the far left loves Kamala, and she is the vice president. And you can make an argument that if you're not going to have the president, then the next best person is the vice president, who should be heir apparent. Now, again, I'm not saying I like her as a candidate. I'm just using argument, right? Can you imagine the rift in the Democratic Party?
There's
the
already
screams
a
of
rift in the DNC.
The screams of racism and sexism that are going to omit out of the Democratic Party because they leapfrog Kamala Harris, who, by the way, is not the first time she's been leapfrogged by a guy in California. And then, can you imagine?
The DNC.
That was a shot, by the way.
Yeah, it was a bit of a shot.
Paul, did you like my shot at Kamala getting leapfrogged by a guy in California?
We don't want to know about how you took a shot with Kamala.
Oh, I'm leaving that one alone, dude.
Thank you.
Alone.
So, I don't remember where the hell I was going.
Can you think of a Democrat that isn't tarnished?
No. I mean, do I get to use Google? Can I sit down and take 10 minutes?
Do they have to still be alive?
I can probably
Yes.
I can probably find someone, maybe
Pete Buttigieg. And again, I'm not endorsing these guys as candidates. I'm trying to think of a candidate that the Democratic Party would get behind without screams of elitism and a lot of screams from the
white
left.
privilege.
Well,
Yeah.
so I mean, the DNC is already fractured, though. The entire conversation of Palestine or Israel.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's not like the DNC doesn't have its own unity issues. They're just different.
And they do a much better job of keeping them behind the scenes.
Not this time. Not with
Well, and the media
not with
helps. The media helps
not with
too.
the Palestine and Israel thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of been up front.
Do we want to go to our caller, Paul, or do you have any thoughts on what we're talking about? I can't see you, so I can't see if you're trying to jump in or not.
No. Go ahead. Go to the caller.
Is it Joe again? Phil?
Oh, yeah, we got Joe.
Hi, Joe. Long time no speak. Long time listener. First time caller. What's up, buddy?
Hey, man, you want me to call back and talk about the issue and a few other things, but I will say at a national level, I'm riding with Joe Biden. He's a great guy. He's a moderate. He really torques the heck off the progressive left. Well, they still have to vote for him because they can't stand Donald Trump as much as moderates. So, it's a great win-win-win for moderates like myself because, gotta tell you, torquing off the progressive left is my idea of fun.
Do you have any concerns, though, about his cognitive abilities?
None whatsoever, and I have full faith in his chief of staff, Ron Klein, and I have some faith in some of the people he's hired to help take care of things if things get serious. But I got a lot of faith in Joe Biden, and I can't stand Donald Trump, and I think I have no faith in Donald Trump's cognitive abilities. The guy started an insurrection against our own government. So
no, he did not, Joe.
I knew that was
Joe. Come on, man.
I read the 1-6 report. I watched Cassidy Hutchinson. If you don't believe Cassidy Hutchinson, we can't have a conversation. Okay. Now let's
Wait a second.
move on.
Hold on,
You're
let
talking
me-
about
state government.
you're talking. No. Okay. Listen, Joe.
See, now
What's
you
an
now you got Paul
insurrection?
started.
What's an insurrection, Joe?
It's when you storm the Capitol and try to stop the counting of the electoral votes and steal the
No,
electoral
Joe,
votes
that's
yourself.
not it.
He's not wrong.
No, Joe, that's a mostly peaceful protest. Okay, what
It
an
wasn't
insurrection
peaceful
is,
when there were
Joe.
cops. It was
An
the hospital.
insurrection is no different than a coup. An insurrection takes arms. It takes force of arms. It takes will. It takes the desire to go in and remove a sitting government body, Joe. And that's not what happened, is it? No, Joe, that's not what happened.
There was a
If
lot
that's
of
what had
force
happened,
and
Joe, hold on.
will
I let
with
you
those
talk.
cops.
I let you spew your hatred, Joe. Now you can listen to me for just a second, okay? Now, Joe, if Donald Trump was involved in an insurrection, he surely would have been criminally charged with insurrection, right? Or treason, or attempting a coup d'etat, right? None of those things was Donald Trump charged with. Do you know why, Joe? Because that's not what happened. Because Donald Trump specifically stated we're going to go march peacefully to the Capitol and make
Peacefully.
our voices heard. He didn't call for violence or
also
anything
said-
else.
He also
What, Joe?
said
Go ahead.
fight like hell and other stuff.
No, Joe,
And I gotta tell
no, you don't get to use that one,
listened
Joe.
intently to-
No, Joe, no, because you had Democrats every other month while Donald Trump was president telling the general public at large to go in and make anybody that works for his cabinet uncomfortable, run them out of restaurants, treat them in certain ways, which is exactly what they did they not, Joe? How many times Sarah Huckabee Sanders and her family got run out of a restaurant having dinner, Joe, and that was at the behest of Democrats.
That's not the same thing.
Many of them.
Excuse me. That's
Joe,
not the same
Joe,
thing.
You gotta apply the same logic both directions. You're being disingenuous, Joe. Go ahead, Joe. I'll let you have the last word. Liars are the last.
Okay, and then let's move on. Let's move on to the next subject after this. But it's not the same thing as cops getting hurt and
absolutely,
beat up,
Joe. No problem. I would know when I was beaten too.
Well, you said you were going to let him have the last word.
And I just
did.
Let's move on.
I let him have the last word.
Okay,
hey, Joe.
Go
Joe,
ahead,
really
Joe.
quick.
And the thing is let's talk about Michelle Collier and her troubles because frankly, I don't know if you guys brought it up already, but Michelle Collier's been written up by the state legislature, and I think it's time for her to go. And I also endorse Dave Reichert for governor because frankly, Jay Inslee has driven the state. Jay Inslee's done some good, but Bob Ferguson is going to take the state right off a cliff. He's done, look at his old employees and how they've handled, handled family law.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't handled it. They've made it worse. Do you want Bob Ferguson running the whole damn state? Of course not.
Yeah.
The guy who sued the U.S. Navy. Bob Ferguson is the kind of guy who would send people to attack cops.
Bob Ferguson bought my vote fair and square, man. He sent me $120 chicken check.
Did you get a chicken check, Joe?
No, because I don't accept money from crooks like Donald Trump and Bob Ferguson.
Joe,
what a dichotomy.
Can you imagine that
It's
as a
right
ticket?
versus wrong.
Can you imagine that as a ticket? Donald Trump with Bob Ferguson as his vice presidential running mate? That would be.
Oh God!
Oh, get the marshmallows.
Oh God!
Get the marshmallows.
World?
That's like Man in the
No, it
High
might be
Castle
no
kind of weird stuff.
That's like dogs and cats playing together.
Here's what I love about you, Joe, though. Right? On one hand, you are ripping Republicans. You're ripping Trump. You're ripping Caldeer. And then you turn right around and you rip Ferguson and you say that Inslee has done some good things, but he's done some really bad things.
I can't think of anything good.
But I'm just saying, I appreciate the fact that you're not a party hugger. You know what I mean? Like you're like one of those people that are like, oh, all Democrats are good or all Republicans are good or whatever, right? You're having integrity in how you look at candidates and issues and stuff. So I appreciate that. Let me ask you one other question before we go to break. And then I think you were going to bring up something else too, but hold on. If Biden comes off the ballot, who would you want to see in his place?
I'd have to say Buttigieg because I'm worried about Kamala Harris's past. I've heard some stuff about some improper conduct and stuff, and I'm a little nervous about it. When I just really worry, and I think Buttigieg would have to do. I also would like Jamie Raskin. Frankly, is my dream pick, even more than Schiff. But that'll never happen.
Joe, I love you so much. I really do. I
Thanks.
don't have to agree with
What
everything
the
you say
absolute
politically, but-
did he just say? He said Jamie Raskin?
Yeah.
Jamie Do-Rag Raskin? If he doesn't get Adam Schiffless, Adam, Mr. 4 years after Donald Trump was acquitted of conspiring with the Russians, who still said, I have the evidence, and I've seen the evidence of Donald Trump colluding with the Russians to win the election. That Adam Schiff?
Yes, God bless Adam.
You don't
Schiff.
have very high standards, do you, my friend?
I like Donald Trump and Bob Ferguson to Sarah jail cell. That's my opinion.
I can't get over Adam Schiff. Jamie Raskin's not too bad. I mean, he's a guy that at least has morals mostly, and so I don't really have a problem with Jamie Raskin. I just thought it was always a little bit weird that he was wearing that do-rag like he was a cancer patient. Shh, quiet. Wait for
He
it.
was a cancer
Okay.
patient. He was an honest to God
I know,
cancer
Joe. That was
patient.
the point.
That's why he wore it.
Oh, Paul, that's insensitive, man.
No, it isn't.
Outlaw
That's
cancer.
not
Paul.
That's not insensitive. I said like a guy with cancer.
Outlaw cancer, Paul.
You say outlaw cancer?
Outlaw cancer.
I love it.
All right.
That's great.
Yeah, and that's the thing about, I mean, that's one thing I want to bring up is, what I want is good government. What I want, frankly, is for Kevin's case to be brought before the state legislature by a legislator with more integrity than Michelle Collier. And let's get something done here because, frankly, I'd like it if our elected leaders started out by saying, just say no to drugs.
Hold on.
But
Hold on, Joe. Hold on. Joe, hold on. We're going to break. Hold on. Outlaw Radio. Back after this. MegaTalkRadioNetwork.com.
Roger.
.com.
By the way, Phil and I tonight had a wonderful dinner from our good friends at Harbor Hot Dog.
Oh, yeah.
Before you think we're talking about it because they gave us free food, they did not.
Oh, no, it was anything but free.
We bought our own food. We bought our own dinner.
Frankly, I would have got a better deal at the vending machine for the sodas. But I want to support our friends.
Good Lord.
Do you see that bus? I just threw right under it.
Dude, whatever happens, Kevin, do not make Phil in charge of advertising campaigns, okay?
But man, the hot rod was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, the hot rod has pulled pork on it, Paul. You would have loved it. Anyway, so I'm just encouraging you guys, if you have a chance, come by the Town Square Mall. Check out the whole mall, really. It's become a really cool kind of niche environment. You're not going to find box stores and stuff like that, but you're going to find really cool, small local businesses doing kind of niche stuff. Like between Black Ring Spirits and between Mr. Miyagi's Kung Fu Studio downstairs, and
it's Taekwondo.
Whatever, I don't know. It's all martial art looks the same to me, and you're hungry an hour later. I mean, all these niche businesses in this mall is a really, really cool thing they're building here. I love it.
There's a cool toy store that catches all of the like millennials and the younger Gen Xers.
You know that place across the street, the hall from you?
Across the hall from Black Ring Spirits. It's the collector's corner.
Yep.
They've got a bunch of really cool vintage Star Wars toys, and they've got Pokemon and every video game system, console game
I'm gonna go by there.
under the sun. It's a cool shop, and it keeps a pretty steady stream of people coming in.
Yeah, I stay out of there because if I go in there, I will sell so much money. I'll spend so much money in there. I will spend so much money in that store. It would not
Wes will love you.
Oh, I know. And my accountant will ask me where the hell my money went.
And what's the pet store, Willow Street? I guess Adam Smith opened.
Yep. Yeah, it's right across the hall from.
And Paul's favorite bookstore, the bookshop under the stairs, is down there too. Paul loves that place.
Yeah, Terry and Gomer are awesome.
I don't. Why do you say that? I ain't got no problem with the books.
Well, I know that you're disappointed because they wouldn't let you dress in drag and read to kids. I know that really hurt your feelings.
Whoa, hold on.
It wasn't them. It was the public.
Time out. Hold on.
All right, we're coming back from break. Outlaw Radio.
No,
we're back after this here.
Oh, you know what? You little shit.
Hey,
I'm coming down there.
Mega Talk Radio.
I'm going to beat your ass like a redheaded stepchild.
After this, stay tuned.
That's going to get us booted off of YouTube.
radio.
So can I just lead this off real quick? I love you, Kevin. I love you.
I love you too.
There were a couple of things that happened in DC today that were absolutely noteworthy. I am so proud to be from the state of Washington with an elected representative like Pramila Jayapal.
But your name is in her last name. I mean,
It's in her somewhere, but I don't know where. Listen, can I quote her?
Hold on, Paul. Paul, before you do this, is Joe still on with us?
Yes.
Because Joe, I know
Okay.
that. Yeah, I want to get your thoughts on this too, Joe. Hold on. Go
Well,
ahead, Paul.
I just want to quote Jamila Priya Paul. Okay, can I quote her? Do you mind?
Somebody who we need to fire.
Joe, Joe, have you heard this quote? Did you hear the quote today by Pramila Jayapal?
Yes, yes, it was disgusting, and you shouldn't repeat it. And I'm going to ask that you not repeat it. And that it was about a male bodily function, and I'm going to just say that it's just one more reason, and a huge. Frankly, it's not a file. It's not a file cabinet. It's an entire truck full of reasons to fire Pramila Jayapal.
Joe,
well, hold on.
Joe,
Paul's gonna have to explain the quote. I know you don't want to hear it, Joe.
Yeah,
but
Joe, you can't.
You may not be aware.
Now you set me up for failure, man.
Context.
I will say that she, she clearly was speaking of a sexual act, and I think Pramila Jayapal. It just proves once again why she needs to be fired for cause and replaced by. I can think of people more qualified in that area. I would think even Teresa Mosqueda would be more qualified to be a U.S. Congresswoman than this clown and embarrassment to our state and our nation.
Let me say this in her defense, okay? When you are sitting around talking for hours, you are bound to flub words. And I think that's all she did. She flubbed a word. But when you hear what she said, and I'm sorry, but you have to let me quote it, Joe. And you can't take offense to this. We do have to entertain here on this radio show. A lot of people will be entertained by this. She, on the floor today, she said, this is a quote from Rep. Pramila Jayapal. Let's talk about the fact that President Trump incited an erection.
That's great. That's
is their reason why she should be fired. Fire Pramila Jayapal. In fact, we should draft, carpetbagger, Teresa Mosqueda. I tell you, their person who was more qualified, and Marina ACLU Gonzalez. That's how bad anti-Semitic Jayapal is. I mean, I swear we should have a campaign to write in Ari Hoffman down there. I mean, my God, this gal Jayapal, she's always falling over herself to bash Israel. Bash anybody who sticks up for themselves, thinks that victims of crime deserve to be victims of crime. I mean, I can go on and on about this embarrassment to our state and our union. I swear she should share a jail cell with her idol, Donald Trump.
Tell us well, at least you're consistent. I give you a props, Joe.
Yeah.
Hey, let me ask. Can I ask you? I got a question for you, Joe. Before we move on, you kind of just touched on it a little bit. Clearly, the progressive wing of the Democratic Party has a serious problem, right? And that's an Israel problem, right? 75% of the Jewish population of the United States votes Democrat. That's a massive chunk. Okay, so how does the Democratic Party? How do they wrap their hands around that and kind of reel that in and get it under control? Or is it going to be an unsolvable problem through this election cycle?
I think it's going to be a very difficult problem when you have a bunch of young people that are being brainwashed, and that's putting it mildly. I mean, I'm not one to mince words, but that's what I think is going on. So I think there's a lot of brainwashing going on about Israel. I'm getting really sick and tired of it, as you can probably tell. It's just.
Where do you stand on that issue, Joe? Do you mind telling us?
About as pro-Israel could get. I mean, January 6th happened. There is no two-state solution when you have over 15,000 dead Israelis that were, mostly civilians, by the way. Then you have hostages taken. Then you have rockets fired from a city into civilian areas, which is a double war crime. The rockets, by the way, were paid for by international aid that could have gone to Africa or Southeast Asia, where they would have been used for housing and education and employment, which is what we're supposed to be using welfare for anywhere, including in Washington State. And I think Israel should have just been given a bouquet of B-1 bombers and said carpet bomb the damn place. That's how far right wing I am on that issue, because I'm sick and tired of this. You have to remember, I remember the bus bombings of the 90s. I remember that Ehud Barak, a former Israeli commando, offered Yasser Arafat, after the martyrdom of Yitzhak Rabin, who took a bullet from a far-right Israeli. Barak offered the late Yasser Arafat, Gaza and most of the West Bank and even part of Israel in return for peace. And Arafat turned it down and started the Second Intifada, which involved bus bombings, rocket attacks, and more. Yep. And yet, for anyone who wants to defend the Palestinians after October the 7th, you're out of touch with reality. And I know there are some very, very partisan I would dare say, gun-grabbing Democrats who, like Catherine Stephanie, of San Francisco, who agree with me on this issue. So the Democratic Party, I gotta tell you, the longer this war goes on, it's going to be a tough one between those of us riding with Biden and those of us who believe that some ceasefire resolution by some city clown show is going to make a Tinkerbell's difference on this.
Right. Hey, okay. So another question for you, Joe. Joe, did you support the impeachment of Donald Trump over his phone call to Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, where he asked Vladimir Zelensky to look into Joe Biden's connections to Burisma?
Yes, I support the both impeachments, but I support, to be intellectually honest, there are other reasons, better reasons to impeach Trump, like the fact he's a jerk, like his annulment problem. I could go on.
No. Well, that's I'm asking a series of questions here. Joe, bear with me here. I'm asking a series of questions because I'm just trying to don't take this the wrong way, but feel you out on this, okay? Here's what I'm trying to ascertain. So you were okay with impeaching Donald Trump based on the phone call that he made, asking Vladimir Zelensky to look in to the corruption at Burisma and what had happened there with Joe Biden's son. Now, are you equally okay with, because what they impeached him there over the issue of President Trump basically setting up a quid pro quo, okay? And that was the whole basis for that impeachment, that Trump said, you do this for me, I'll do this for you, okay? Now, are you similarly okay with impeaching Joe Biden over the fact that he publicly broadcast while standing on stage that he went to Ukraine and told them that they weren't going to get $1 billion unless they fired the chief prosecutor in that country that was in fact looking into that exact same corruption between Hunter Biden and Burisma? Now,
what are
you willing to
about here? This is.
Oh, you don't understand? Do you want me to break it? Okay, it's cool. It's cool because we are just okay. We're just talking here. So what happened was.
Oh, did we lose Paul?
I'm sure electronic warfare got in the way.
Yeah.
Oh well, what if I think, frankly, clearly, this is some wild conspiracy theory about our great president Joe Biden. I will say,
hold on, Joe. The word "great" might be a bit of a stretch.
Well, the president has done a great job of standing up to Donald Trump and inspiring us to come together. So I do love Joe Biden. He's done a great job as president. And, comparing the mess was handed, including a deadly airborne pandemic, by the way.
Yes.
So God bless Joe Biden. But I got to say, I really think we need to, clean up our politics. That's one of the reasons why one of the reasons why I wanted to call in before I heard, Kevin, what happened to you and your family, which is so sad and so really inexcusable that there's no accountability here. There's no where none of the government people are doing government work here except the judge, maybe. and the clerk. I will give the clerk that much because I don't have it in me to paint a clerk with the same brush as children's care people that aren't providing real child care. And trying to keep someone off of drugs because I thought drug use was a crime. Maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe I'm highfalutin on some
You're in
magical.
Washington.
Yep.
You're in Washington.
Thank you for reminding me. I'm in crazy Washington where left-wing kooks and crazies who think we should remove firearm enhancements end up becoming chairs of legislative committees. And yes, I had quite the argument with the guy last year where I made clear that, I went through a firearm crime and I made extremely clear that I strongly support firearms enhancements. So I'm just going to say this very delicately. I think it's time for Governor Dave Reichert. I think it's time for a Republican governor with proven integrity and courage.
What do you have an opinion?
Do
you have an opinion on Semi Bird?
He stands no chance, nor does the Democrat running. Let's be honest here.
Hold on. You don't think Bob Ferguson has a chance?
The Democrat running against Ferguson.
Against Turd Ferguson. Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Ferguson versus Reichert. Look at what happened to Hillary Franz, the only serious candidate. She got told pretty much we need to unite the party and we need to get you off the Congress and all that stuff. So
step aside. All right. Joe, we love you.
That's what happened, man. That's pretty much what happened.
Joe, we love you.
And
call back anytime.
Kevin, best of luck if you get. Thanks, we'll do.
I love you, man. Thank you. Oh, he's gone. He's off like a thief in the night. And Paul's gone too. Just me and you, Tom. Want to make out?
Hey, I'm still here. Don't you know that?
Oh, sorry, Phil.
Oh, it's okay, Phil. We have millions of listeners. Millions.
Millions. All right. Listen, I don't know how to take Joe. I love Joe. And Joe says things that I totally get behind, like he's not a fan of Trump. I can understand that. He's not a fan of Bob Ferguson. I can totally get behind that.
I understand that.
He has issues with Michelle Caldier, as have I.
Okay.
But then he comes out and he says that Joe Biden is doing a quote air quotes great job.
I'm so confused.
I'm not sure how to take that, but
I'm confused.
Wondering, is it the same way we talk about the dog who's a good boy?
I don't know.
But you know what? It's okay that we're all entitled to
God.
opinions.
Can you imagine?
Oh,
Joe, it's time to give your speech. Come on, boy. Come on, Joe.
Yeah.
You can do it. Oh, you're such a good president. Who's a good president? You're a good president.
Oh,
yes, you are.
Here's
You're
your
a
ice
good
cream
president.
Of dogs. Speaking of dogs and dogs that want to hear "Good Boy," you guys have got to see the movie Strays. It's on Paramount. It is hysterical.
If I had a woman in my house that would watch movies.
It is hysterical. You've got to see Strays.
I watch movies by myself.
Kevin, I'll come
watch it. Are you a good president?
Yes,
you're a good president. You're such a good president. Anyway. I'm hilarious. I'm more funny than you guys give me credit for.
He didn't really get too much into it. So Caldier is up for some sort of discipline. Is that what he said?
Huh?
Something about discipline and Caldier.
Caldier's gotten herself in a little trouble. Oh, I haven't really followed it because I don't care that much. But she was supposed to have some disciplinary something in the legislature for some bad behavior, tripping a lady.
I don't know.
I saw she posted something today. I guess she's been kind of keeping it hidden, but apparently she had some vision thing happen several years ago, and she actually had to have an eye removed and some sort of thing. So maybe whatever this discipline thing, she just didn't see it coming.
So bad.
I'm glad you made that joke and not me, because I'd be accused of being an insensitive twit for that. I will say this. I find it ironic that there's talk about discipline, and that's when she releases the thing about her eye.
Oh, that's true.
I wonder if it's related. Like, hey, here's some bad news coming out about me, so let me make you feel sympathetic. I'm not saying that's what it is, but if I worked for Caldier's PR team, and again, I have a degree in public relations, a degree in crisis communications, it's up my alley. It's what I do. If I was on her PR team, this would not have been when I released a story about her eye. It wouldn't have been, because no matter what, it looks like you're trying to deflect from potential bad stuff about your campaign. Like, what you should do is own it, come head on out with it, accept your responsibility for it, give it up 3 months, and then release the other stuff. Give yourself some distance, and then let that be a positive image moving forward for you in the rest of this, the rest of this term. Now, the good news for Caldera is she's got plenty of time to come back for this, right? Oh no, she doesn't, because she's up for election. She doesn't have a lot of time. That's why I waited 3 months. Get closer to the election, and then you release the story that people can see your tenacity, and the fact that you didn't give in, and the fact that even though you lost your eye, you're still advocating for the citizens in your district. And you know, that's what I would have done. Wouldn't have come out with it now, because now it's all going to get interwoven and intertwined with the bad stuff. But Michelle, call me. You can hire me to work on your PR team. I only want $95,000 a year. I think that's more than she makes.
Plus 20.
Well, $94,000 a year plus fuel surcharge for the commute, and
plus that $20.
My own, and plus $20. My own office, my own interns, my own staff, my own chauffeur. Yeah, it'll be expensive. Anyway, what are you looking at? Any good comments in the chat?
No, I'm just kind of keeping up here, but no, right now the general confusion in the chat is words of like nice words towards Pancake Joe. There's so much confusion.
Oh, I know. Listen, but look, Joe believes what he believes unapologetically, and I respect that. I don't have to agree with everything that he stands for.
No,
but the fact that he's not a party hugger, I absolutely love.
I have a huge amount of respect for that, because I think all politicians are trash, and you know.
Yeah, the fact he's not a party hugger, I like that. He has his own opinions. More power to him. I mean, that's freaking awesome. I don't have to agree with him. It takes all kinds.
No, so the thing that I really appreciate is he's not a lemming. Mm-hmm. You know, he's done some reading. He's done some homework. I don't have to agree with any of his conclusions, but he's not just a lemming that's circling all the D's or all the R's on his ballot.
Yep.
So,
and he's an issue-based voter. To him, the military, the Navy base, all of that, those are things he really cares about.
Mm-hmm.
And that frames a lot of...
It's your community.
Well, yeah, but that frames a lot of why he votes and why he picks the way he picks. Hi, Paul. Paul's back.
Wait, so he's a Norm Dix Democrat.
I don't know if maybe he's a Norm Dix Democrat. We might have to ask him about that. That's interesting. Paul, there's going to be a lot of turnover in November, isn't there?
I think so.
God, Paul.
So
then you're off rows again.
All this talk of donut or pancakes and turnovers. What the
hell? No. It's
yeah, Paul, we're losing you. You keep glitching, and then you talk, and I can see your mouth move, but nothing's coming out. Your internet's all glitchy. I don't know what's going on, dude. And now you're talking, we can't hear you. All right, I'm gonna give up.
No, I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay. Hey,
like normal.
Can we have fun for the final 8 minutes of the show? Unless you've got more to add, Paul. I don't want to cut you off. That's your wife.
No. I was just trying to.
So break out the cards.
You guys keep saying stuff while I'm in the middle of talking, so I die. The feed is dying or something.
Your connection is dying.
Yeah, your connection's awful. But go ahead. We can hear you right now.
Okay, good. No, nothing.
Well, thanks for that. Okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Paul. I want to read you a list of potential Seahawk head coaches. And I've got several websites up, but one of the names that I see on multiple websites is weird. And I want to get your guys' thoughts, okay?
Weird. Okay.
All right. Like from the stranger weird? Or
no,
what?
just not nobody I would have thought about, but suddenly I'm intrigued. So obviously Dan Quinn is on the list.
Mhm.
Obviously Mike Vrabel, who was a coach of the Titans. I think he's going to the Chargers, but he's on the list. The Ravens defensive coordinator, Mike McDonald. I don't want Mike McCarthy, the Cowboys coach, is on there. Some other guys that are on there, Shane Waldron,
I don't know who that is.
the offensive coordinator. Yeah, no chance in hell. Jim Harbaugh is on there.
I don't think there's a chance in hell we'll end up with Harbaugh.
Ben Johnson, the current offensive coordinator for the Lions. Let me see. Anybody else on here that I haven't mentioned? Raheem Morris, the Rams defensive coordinator. Robert Saleh, the Jets head coach. But one name that I see popping up on a couple lists, Paul, Kalen DeBoer, the head coach of your Washington Huskies. And he's on a couple lists. Like, I'm not just picking him off of one list. He's on an NBC list, and he's on a Seattle Times list.
Interesting.
Well, he's got a hell of a college resume, no doubt.
Yes, he does. Well, and if
he
you
certainly is.
If
He's
you
never
let-
been in the NFL. I couldn't
No, he
see
hasn't.
them 1 year at a Division I school. I couldn't see it.
Yeah, but
Well, 2 years, but yeah.
Well, I put a lot of credit in a list that the Seattle Times might make.
Is that sarcasm?
No,
Okay.
they listed me as the second best distillery in the Pacific Northwest.
Oh, that's true. That's true. But here's what would be cool, right? If DeBoer went to the Seahawks, then Ryan Grubbs, the offensive coordinator for the Huskies, that everybody else wants, could then take over as head coach for the Huskies.
No.
I would be totally cool with that.
It is
Another Jimmy Lake situation all over again.
You think so? I don't know. Alabama wanted Alabama wanted Grubb to be their OC, and he told them no because he promised Michael Penix and who's that really good receiver we have?
Roma Dunze.
Roma Dunze, that he would come back. He kept his word to his players. I think that'll mean a lot in the locker room.
Yeah, not in the pro locker room though. I don't know, man.
No,
It's
I'm talking
just,
about Ryan Grubb. Ryan Grubb, the OC. If he stayed and became the head coach, I think it would do good.
Oh,
Who do you
maybe,
want as
but
the head coach?
Players that it would matter to, they're going to be gone. So,
Who do you want as the head coach then? You have anybody you want as Seahawks head coach? Who do you get?
I'd take Jim Harbaugh.
Tom?
so far I'm a fan of Quinn.
Okay, even though he failed as a head coach in Atlanta?
You know, if you take a look at Pete Carroll's beginnings as a head coach, he did terrible. What was it, in New York?
That's true.
Yeah, and New England. And he's the winningest coach in Seahawks history. So I think part of it's chemistry. You know, you've got to have the right set of players. You know, the right crowd, the right city. I think there's more to it than just the skill set of the coach.
Well, and I will add to what Tom is saying by you this. The make or break whoever comes on board as their new head coach is going to be made by one decision and one decision alone. And that's your up first round pick and the quarterback you take with it.
If you take a quarterback, look, here's the issue. Right now, they're I want to say 16 or around that area somewhere.
We need a quarterback. Gino did good for a bit, but he's proven that his inconsistency is still hanging on. So we need a good quarterback.
Yeah, 16. So the question is, will there be a quarterback at 16 worth taking with that pick? And I don't think there will be. I think Penix is going to go early. I think all those good quarterbacks are going to go in the top 10 because there's a lot of teams out there that need quarterbacks.
Yeah, we're one of them.
Yeah, but we don't pick till 16.
No, I'm just.
There won't be anybody at 16 we should take with that pick.
I completely disagree.
Really?
Most of those teams that are still low have gotten quarterbacks in the last 2 to 3 years.
Okay, I'm gonna read off teams really quick. Say if they need a quarterback. Indianapolis. Yes. New Orleans. Yes. The Raiders. Yes. Denver. Yes.
Yes.
Minnesota.
No.
Yeah, they're getting rid of Cousins is gone, and unless you want to keep that Josh guy from Arizona that they picked up.
Oh, is Cousins leaving?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
The Jets, yes.
Yeah.
The Bears, maybe, because
I
there's
know.
talk about them getting rid of Fields. Would you trade for Fields? I'd trade for Fields in a heartbeat.
I don't know much about him.
Atlanta, yes.
Yeah.
Tennessee, yes. The Giants, probably
maybe.
because Daniel Jones has been a dumpster fire. The Chargers, no. The Cardinals, yes. The Patriots, yes. The Commanders,
Cardinals,
yes.
no. See, you're not looking at who these quarterbacks are on these teams. You're just assuming because they're bad, they need a quarterback. Cardinals don't need a quarterback. They just signed a long-term deal last year with Kyler Murray. This
Kyler
year.
Murray is small and hurt often. They'd get off of him in a heartbeat, I think. Okay, let's say Arizona knows still a predominance of the teams in front of you need a quarterback.
Well, again, and nothing is stopping them from trading up to take a quarterback either. So
yeah, they don't trade up.
With a new coach, the philosophy will change.
Yeah, maybe. I hope so. I mean, Schneider is still your GM. So
yes,
I don't know.
Yes.
All right, are we okay to go a little bit over on Facebook only tonight? Just a little bit? Do you guys mind? A little bit?
No, let's go.
Okay, we'll go over a little bit. We got 2 minutes until break, Paul. Did you read my comment on social media that we're about to head into the dark ages of Seattle sports?
Yeah, and we talked about that a little bit. And I don't think you're far off, although I hope you're wrong with the Seahawks. Don't care about the Mariners.
Seahawks are going to suck.
Don't
Mariners
care
are
about
suck.
the Sounders. The Kraken, I'm going to
Sounders
try to get into.
Soccer's not a sport, so we don't talk about the Sounders. Sonics still aren't coming back.
I'm basketball and soccer. I lump them in with tennis. Those are the cat sports.
Really, you don't like basketball?
I
love basketball, and the Sonics were here.
I feel like a cat. I sit there and I watch the game, and they run from one end of the court to the other end of the court, back to the other end of the court. It's like watching a tennis ball go back and forth across the net. It's the same thing. You left and right, left and right, left. And
No, I love basketball. When the Sonics were here, and you had Gary Payton and Sean Kemp and Detlef Schrempf and Kendall Gill.
I've just never got. I like basketball highlights.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's some really cool highlights, but for the most part, basketball bores me.
Hey, Travis is in the chat.
Hi, Travis. I hope Travis heard what I said earlier and wants to help. Yeah, I hope so. Need help. We all need help. Our kids need help. Families need help. Community needs help.
Yes.
All of it. All right. We're going to go to break. For those of you on AM, thanks for dealing with the hour of my personal issues. I appreciate you guys and I love you for it. For those of you on Facebook, stick around. We're going to do just a little segment after the top of the hour. And we'll break some stuff down and wrap this thing up. We will, of course, be back on Sunday as well. And we might bring back another edition of Rider Races just because it was so much fun. We might. I haven't decided yet. Paul didn't do very well last time. Might have to play it when he's not here. Oh. Outlaw Radio, Facebook, stay right there. AM, have a good night. We love you.
Walk like a Joe Biden.
So you mean trip down the stairs and put your hand over your heart for the wrong anthem and
stumble around looking for pancakes.
Hey, in this song, do they mention rum raisin ice cream at all? That's the question.
He hits the deck, then he hits some more. All the Dems are so sick of Joe, they really would like to see him end. He his pants. He went to the Vatican. All the kids in the DNC say,
this is good. By the way, I want to ask this question. Now, let that play under us. That's fine. I want to ask this question, Paul, Tom, Philip. Who was your? Because everybody's big Taylor Swift fans now, but who was the singer that you had a crush on growing up? Because I'll tell you mine right now. Susanna Hoffs, lead singer of the Bangles. I loved her so much. Her and Debbie Gibson. Yeah.
No, I had
And I don't want to hear any naughty, dirty stories. I'm just asking who your crush was. I saw the look on Philip's face. Go ahead.
No,
Tom.
I was like, I must have had much different youth than you.
But
How old are
Belinda
you?
Carlisle.
Huh?
How old are you?
Old enough to know better. Young enough to do
No,
it again.
no, how old are you? You're not as old as I am.
Hold on, how old am I? It's
What year were you born?
77. So.
You're
what,
6
46?
years. 6 years younger. Okay, all right. Tom, who was your crush?
Belinda Carlisle. You know, I had some.
Oh.
Yeah,
She's cute.
Belinda Carlisle.
Belinda
was
Carlisle,
good.
yeah,
Go-Go
she was cute.
days.
Yeah, and then
all right.
Paul Abdul a little bit later.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
Paul Abdul.
Straight up, huh?
I just got a thing for the athletic dancer. You know,
All right. Paul, who was yours?
wasn't so much the music.
Samantha Fox.
Samantha Fox. That's a good call.
Oh,
That's a good call right there. Okay. Anybody
She's
else?
a fine babe.
What about Lita? Were you a Lita Ford fan?
oh yeah.
Lita Ford?
Yeah.
Dude,
Her duet with Ozzy was awesome.
yeah. Listen, Lita Ford was one of those like having a crush on your teacher kind of thing. Like, you know,
Yeah.
she was way too old for you, but you just couldn't help it. And you were like, well, I can have dreams. Lita Ford was sexy in a cougar kind of way, man.
Yeah.
Before cougars were.
Travis asked, he missed hour one because they were in committee. Travis, you can go back to the Outlaw Radio Network Facebook page after the show is over and the video uploads, and it'll be on there. You can go back and listen to it from start.
It would be something Travis would absolutely be interested in hearing.
I agree.
For sure. Travis, yeah, for sure. Go back and listen.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Lori said that Susanna Hoffs was a dumpster fire at the Paramount concert. Of course she was. This was the 80s, Lori. The cocaine was everywhere. It was like at concerts now, it rains confetti. In the 80s, it rained cocaine.
Yeah, ask Stevie Nicks.
Yeah. John said Stevie Nicks is his crush. Dawn says Anita Baker. Lori said Travis Couture. Lori, no, Travis Couture was not an 80s, rock icon.
I don't think Travis Couture is old enough.
No, I don't think he is either.
But Lori, we won't judge you. Well,
It's
we
okay.
will, but
yeah. We won't judge you any more than we already have. How's
yeah.
that? Philip, who was yours? Who was your crush?
I'm just like,
I
as a
went
kid,
through a phase.
I can't think of any crush. That's the thing. I'm like a different childhood.
You didn't have a crush?
I can't think of anything.
Really?
I mean, I enjoyed various kinds of music, but it wasn't like.
Were there? Wait, hold on. Were there any guys you had a crush on? Like, I don't want to assume the gender of your preference, so I might not want to be fair. I mean, if it was Rick Astley or Men at Work, we're done with that. We support you anyway.
Oh my gosh!
I'm willing to bet it wasn't Sinead O'Connor.
Oh, did you hear that they released her cause of death?
Yes. Yeah.
Did you hear what it was?
I saw the headline, but I didn't hear any details.
They said.
Yeah, natural causes. And she was 56.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how you die of natural causes at 56.
Well,
that was my thought, man. Exactly.
I mean, have you ever heard of the Oregon Trail? That's the only reason I can think of.
Yeah. Well, Kevin, would you consider something like a brain aneurysm natural causes?
No.
I don't think they. I know. If she died of a brain aneurysm, I think they would have said a brain aneurysm.
Well, I know.
Natural causes
I
just
pulled that out of
means-
my ear. I mean, so what is natural causes then?
Natural causes is just your body's done.
Oh, that's
it
old
just
age.
It just stopped. That's causes.
old age.
Oh,
Yes.
Hold on, I'm gonna look that up. Hold on.
Because
Yeah.
I mean,
means
a
there was
heart
no
attack-
outside mitigate. Hey, there was no outside mitigating factors.
Yeah.
That's what it means.
So according to Google, which is never wrong, death by natural causes means that someone dies from an internal factor, such as a disease or old age, rather than from an external factor, such as an accident, violent death, or suicide. When natural causes appears on a death certificate, it usually means that the person wasn't diagnosed with any one health condition. So you didn't die from cancer. That would have been a singular health condition. And again, I don't know. Maybe she had a history of drug use. Eddie Guerrero.
She had a history of mental health issues.
But I don't think that would contribute to.
But it
natural
would
causes.
if she was taking medications long term.
Okay.
Over
All right.
many years, that may have impacted a weakening of one system or another.
Okay. Yeah, I would give you that. I think Eddie Guerrero. Well, Eddie Guerrero died of. What did Eddie Guerrero die? Was that natural causes or was that?
Wasn't he a wrestler?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I recognized that name.
Oh, I'm double checking.
Eddie Guerrero was like the same era as
He had heart failure. Never
Stone
mind. Okay.
Cold and Triple H. And yeah, okay.
Yeah,
But-
he was
but-
the Attitude Era. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Eddie Guerrero was 38 years old when he died. Boy, he looked way
Was he
older than
really
that.
38? He looked a lot
Yeah.
older.
He looked way older than that. Yeah.
Well, TV ads a lot of years.
Well, and he admits as well that he did a lot of drugs. So that ages you quick. There's
It's
a
hard to
reason.
blame those-
Go ahead, Paul. Sorry.
the wrestlers. I mean, an incredibly physical lifestyle, right? You're night after night, you're beating the hell out of your body, and you have to be in character, right? There's a reason why, like there's like two types of people that are the best actors, right? That's and alcohol, drug addicts and alcoholics.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I'm not. There's a reason why, right? A lot of LGBTQ people get used to acting, hiding who they are, acting in a different way. And people that are also good actors are people that are addicted to different drugs and alcohol because it allows them to get into character and break down missions.
Yep.
That makes sense. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not making it up, man. That's real stuff. And it's unfortunate in a lot of ways. It just is. So
Yeah. And you beat up your body enough as it is, let alone, the painkillers, all the meds, everything. And then, nobody in wrestling circles talks about Chris Benoit anymore, but, and rightfully
he's
so,
persona non grata, man.
with what he did, but
yeah.
the effects of CTE from repeated concussions and brain injury from wrestling certainly had to have played a role in what he did that night to his wife and his son. I mean, if you talk to people who knew him, boy, they loved him. Like, nobody saw this coming out of him, what he did. So I have to believe that CTE and that brain trauma and those repeated brain injuries had a massive effect on him murdering his wife and his son, especially the way that he did it. I just can't imagine it didn't. Tom.
Go back and look at NFL players from the late 70s and the 80s. The days of like Iron Man football. When, rub some dirt on it and get out there. The numbers of suicides in that population is really, really high, and it goes back to concussion issues and repeated head trauma is bad.
Yeah, no, I agree. And you don't even know for sure if you had it until you're dead and they can do an autopsy and then take a look at your brain.
Yeah, the diagnose, and that's like an Alzheimer's diagnosis.
Yeah.
You can't do it till it's post-mortem.
Yeah, and a lot of wrestlers have kind of turned over their bodies to science. Just so that they can do the CTE. Look, Junior Seau was 43 years old when he committed suicide.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that again is CTE, head trauma, brain damage, all of that, right? It certainly had to have something to do with it. Comments in chats. Kevin, after we watch this story, Griffin, I would like to come on sometime to further discuss if you'd like. Of course, in studio, in person, remotely, by Zoom, by video, 2 tin cans and a piece of string. You and Dan are welcome anytime. And I have a really strong affinity for Dan too. So yeah, you guys are welcome anytime. We'll gladly have you on. Yeah. All right. Anything else we want to touch on before we wrap up the, nobody swore since we've been on Facebook tonight too. I'm really impressed with you guys.
Fucking A.
I'm impressed that we ever make it through a show without anybody swearing on AM, let alone on Facebook.
You're not really.
What?
You're shocked I'm not swearing, really?
No, not you. But I'm amazed that. Listen, I'm amazed when Paul doesn't swear on AM.
Fucking A.
All right. Anything else you guys want to touch on before we wrap up the AM side of things?
No, I'm good, brother.
Okay.
I think it's been a well-rounded show.
You definitely laid your heart bare on what's going on in life. That was very vulnerable.
I'm a pretty vulnerable guy. It doesn't always work to my advantage. But,
Although I'm going to be talking to Tom later about a prank I want to pull on you.
a prank?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, how nice.
Although I shouldn't tell you, right?
I said, Phil, that kind of ruins the. Now his head's going to be on a swivel.
Now he's going to be paranoid for a while, but once that settles down.
Really quickly, I do want to go over this. I know how much Tom and I know how much. Well, Tom will be stuck at home if this happens, and Paul won't be able to work, so nobody's going to be happy about it. But me. They are calling for rain and snow showers starting overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. Snow level at 500 feet early. It should be down near sea level later in the day on Thursday. They're not necessarily calling for widespread accumulations. However, there is some belief that they could see snow bands that kind of hover. In some places could get up to 4 inches, but they have no idea where that'll be. My question is, when they say 4 inches, do they mean 4 inches, or do they mean like 4 inches when a man says 4 inches? So I'm not sure. We'll see what it means. That's Thursday. So Friday, there should be snow showers. Again, not a lot of accumulations unless you get one of those bands that kind of chill out, and you could see a little bit more than that, but they're saying a trace to an inch, spotty. Saturday, a few snow showers early, but again, nothing really to speak of. And then we should see things early next week stay lower, and by midweek, you should be up to normal temperatures in the mid-40s for your highs. So, But again, the issue with the snow is, depending and this is what I'm getting is off of King 5, and I like King 5 just because I like the weather jackets. But you can go look at any weather source in the county, and they're going to for the area, and they're going to give you different expectations, and none of them specifically talk about Kitsap, which is its own like weather
microclimate.
Microclimate. So, they will talk about, we're not going to get any snow. Well, what they mean when they say we're not going to get any snow is they mean the metropolitan Seattle area. But Kitsap County, because of the rain shadow effect of the Olympics and the fact that we're on the west side of Puget Sound and all of that, none of it really matters. It could all be.
You should check out the NOAA weather app. It's like $1.99, but it is super stupid accurate and looks at where you are.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna go to the National Weather Service, which is NOAA, right?
What's interesting is there's so many different models they use. It's not until you get closer to the day that the models, you find out where they converge. It's very interesting. I mean, I got a buddy who's working for a company that puts weather satellites in the air that do like radar, and they're trying to have it like enough coverage so they can just do the whole world. Possibly we'll know the weather in Africa at some point.
Yeah.
Because apparently that's a thing. They don't know because no one cares.
The rain's down in Africa?
Yeah, the rain's down there, yeah.
Sure.
Oh, God. Now I want to sing that song. All right. Here's what NOAA says for the weather, for those of you that care. Tonight, no risk of snow. Thursday during the day, up to half an inch. Thursday night, up to half an inch. Friday, up to half an inch. Friday night, maybe up to an inch. Saturday, 1 to 2 inches possible. And then that's it for snow.
And we're still talking about weather, right?
Yeah.
According to NOAA on their weather app for your phone.
Is it NOAA? Yeah, NOAA's the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. That's where I'm getting it off. Yeah.
Yeah. According to NOAA's app, they use their GPS on this thing. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow, snow likely.
Oh, yeah. You're seeing this up here, right?
Yeah,
this is what you're seeing up here. But I'm looking at the detailed forecast. I'm looking at the detailed forecast below, where it actually gives
like that.
Yeah. All right. Paul, do you want snow or no?
No.
Like if it snowed over the weekend, would you be cool with that or no?
No, it's my son's birthday, and I don't want to.
When is your son's birthday?
He is the 15th, but
okay.
Which son?
Truan.
Oh, happy birthday, Truan.
Yeah, that's right. Emily's birthday is Saturday.
Happy birthday, Emily.
Yeah, so I was thinking, Truan wants to go ice skating, so I was going to take him ice skating, but that's difficult to arrange with people when there's a chance. So, but I mean, it is what it is. I'm going to have to deal with it no matter what. So,
But you live out in the boondocks in the middle of nowhere. Couldn't you just, ice skate on your koi pond?
actually, I have a beaver pond right here behind my house, which is pretty cool.
He
Like an
said
actual beaver pond with the whole beaver house and the beaver dam and everything.
That's super cool.
And
He said-
the girls don't even charge a lot for drinks with them.
Have you seen the beaver coming and going from his den?
She's a brunette. She's got a real flat.
Oh.
Talk to Tom in private.
All right. You're breaking up again, Paul. Paul, we love you. We'll see you Sunday.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Oh, I'll see you tomorrow at court. That's right. Court at 1:30.
Yeah.
I'll be there at 1.
In a meeting tomorrow too.
What? We'll talk about that off air. I don't know if we're having that or not.
Oh.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Okay. And we might want to put it off anyway, just with the risk of snow. But we'll talk about it privately tomorrow.
Yeah,
all right. Goodbye,
yeah,
Paul. We love you. Fix your internet.
Kevin, I love you.
Yeah. Goodbye,
I'll
buddy.
try.
All right.
Somebody else do it for me. No, wait. Please.
Goodbye. Philip, do you have any parting shots?
No, but I'll close you out at the end with something to give you a, what do they call it when you have a song in your head? A mind
earworm?
Earworm, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Tom, do you have anything to say? But actually, before you do yours, let me go to chat. I want to make sure nobody said anything in chat because I haven't been monitoring the chat. And if we're going to give them a voice, we need to give them their voice.
Joe says, may the
following
force be with you.
Always.
Tomorrow afternoon.
I'm not going to acknowledge. Oh, I think Jay Andrew Kennedy and I had a bet. Jay, would you remind me of what that bet was so I can pay off?
Oh, you and I are supposed to arm wrestle.
Oh, that's right. Okay. All right. We'll do that on Sunday. Tonight was not the night.
No, tonight's not.
Kevin's experienced enough loss.
What's going on tomorrow? If you missed the first hour, I'm not going to explain anything, but I got to go back to the court. Let's see. John has a good point. Dropping to the teens this weekend. Black ice alert. I don't know why you want to make it racial, John, but okay. Please be aware of slick roads. Like really, be aware of slick roads, especially if you've got the temperature getting as cold as it's going to get, an intermittent liquid falling from the sky. Please drive really safe.
That just seems so inappropriate. Don't be dropping it on teens.
Heck, the roads were slick leaving my house this evening.
Yeah,
we're not even below freezing, but my road was kind of snotty, slick, gross.
Yeah, so just really drive careful, and I mean this when I say this. If you're not 100% comfortable driving in this stuff, then don't.
I am absolutely comfortable. That would be a part of my parting shots. Be prepared.
Yeah, I
have 3 kinds of chains I carry with me: tire chains, tow chains, chainsaw.
Yeah. I just be really safe, guys. Drive smartly, drive safe. If you don't need to be out there in the weather, don't go out in the weather.
Robert Parker points out it's not black ice, it's clear ice. The asphalt's black.
Yeah. Exactly. But just be smart. And if you guys need help, if you get stuck or if there's a problem.
And Holly says she's here, the show can start.
I know. She missed the whole hour. She missed the whole first hour.
Watch the first hour and try to be nice.
While we're dreaming big. Any other comments I wanted to touch on? Christy Christy said she's backing down. Hit her up.
What?
Junior Kennedy said, well, make a bet if you weren't willing to pay up. I'm willing to pay up. We're just going to do it on Sunday. Don't you want there to be more listeners? Sunday's a busier show.
Sunday.
Sunday.
Be there.
And remember, you'll have the entire seat, but you'll only need the edge. All right.
Be there unless you're dead or in jail. Break out.
I'm just looking for any other comments.
I hope I didn't piss Paul off. I actually pulled him from the view because he was breaking up so badly. He never actually hung up.
Oops.
Oh, really? Good man. All right. Optimistic. Who's that? Said to call her blind, deaf, and dumb. Okay, whatever. All right.
Do you have a bunch of chat that I don't have or something?
Yeah, he has the
That was somebody that posted on YouTube that was watching us on YouTube.
Oh, you've got the StreamYard chat.
Yeah, the StreamYard chat
have
gives
the
me
StreamYard
everything.
chat.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. It gets our YouTube and our Facebook comments. But
Okay.
I don't think I've ever seen comments from our YouTube channel before, unless it was Phil. So this marks
Justin.
Or Justin. Yeah, this marks a new new moment. With
Three commenters.
All right, Tom, do you have parting shots?
I match energy.
Karen says good night.
Oh, Karen, our peacock. Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Robert says good luck.
Thank you, Robert.
Margie says hire a detective. Like Ace Ventura?
I'm not going to hire a detective. I don't have that kind of money. I know you guys think I'm rich, but I'm not. Go ahead, Tom. Sorry.
I already did.
Okay.
All right.
I got to get mine. Hold on. Let me get my
goodnight.
parting shots.
Yeah.
Hold on. My parting
Yeah,
shots.
just ready.
I'm going to be all sappy and mushy again. It's really cool when you bare your heart out a little bit to a bunch of strangers who don't really know you, and the response you get is love and support and kind words. So, to the listeners that were involved in the first hour and kind of the story and all of that, thank you. Thank you for restoring some hope and humanity, and thank you for being just good-hearted people that weren't little shitheads. It does mean a lot. I've commented on this on my social media as well. Just the outpouring of love and kind stuff from strangers is really, it's really nice. And it goes against the narrative that we're sold every day about how horrible the planet is and how horrible we are and how horrible people are and all of that. So thanks. It means a lot. Yeah, thank you. All right. We'll be back on Sunday at 8 p.m. as normal. We don't have any guests scheduled unless Holly would suddenly like to be in studio or make a phone call and be called in. The offer's always open, Holly. I'll just continue to throw that out there. Otherwise, we will regale you with our really repartee about the world around us, some really good deep analysis of the political goings-ons, and the occasional joke about Phil's faith, because it's us. Phil will take us out with something, and this is Outlaw Radio. We love you. We appreciate you. Thank you for supporting the show. Oh, and share the show. Remember, if you share the show, we're going to do another drawing the first week of March for everybody who shared the show so that they can get stuff because they shared the show.
Hey, Kevin, I have a question.
Yeah.
Are we going to keep the drawing for someone that gets some Outlaw merch and someone that come in studio?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. If we have
who got permission to come in studio, who won that?
Mr. Smallwood.
Oh, that's right, Smallwood. I haven't heard from him, but Paul was going to reach out.
So I'll throw it out right now that anyone who comes to visit in studio will have a parting gift with them, but I can't say any more than that because I get in trouble.
And they have to be over 21.
Yeah, there's that too.
They can bring their parents.
Sure.
I don't know.
Mom or dad.
That'll make it awkward.
Holly said that she never shared the show. Not sure why Lori said she did last show. I don't know. I know that what Lori did was she went through back all the shows and found the list of people who shared the show. So clearly she saw something that made her think that you shared the show, and you didn't share the show. Then you should have shared the show, because sharing the show is like sharing the show to people who need the show shared. I don't know. I'll ask Lori about it. All right. It's Dan Smallwood, by the way. All right. Phil, take us out of here. Outlaw Radio. Love you guys.
Frogleaf Studios.
It's a weird key, though. I can't sing along with it. Like I want to.